Do you remember this scene in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade? I do. I remember seeing it in the theater when I was 7 years old. Even at that age, I found the practice of burning books and destroying art absolutely disgusting. That's what Nazis, and by extension, fascists do. They burn books. They don't like any art that isn't direct, and they don't like any art that doesn't overtly push their agenda. Adolf Hitler talked about only liking art that was accessible to the average man. The idea seems to be that a surface read of artwork is all that matters to a fascist. That any work done to explore themes or ideas behind art makes that art somehow less worthy and therefore needing to be destroyed. That art that is perhaps rebellious, pushes boundaries, questions authority, or just attempts to normalize that which isn't seen as the norm, is somehow less worthy than any other art, simply for doing just that. Well, let's now be rebellious in this video and talk about the actual topic of the title. If you don't know, Mauler is a YouTube content creator. He specializes in talking about movies and video games, and on his streaming series, EFAP, he and his cohorts, Rags and Fringy, do much the same, but more as well.
It's a good show.
Make everything feel like it doesn't have any stakes at all. I didn't really feel that that was the case here.
Fuck
The
off.
MCU needed
Because you're stupid. That's the thing.
Yeah.
You're actually stupid.
I mean,
Your brain cannot recognize the information that it's been blatantly presented. You're stupid. That's why you don't understand. It's like actually you're stupid. That's the problem.
Right, I'm gonna go ahead and guess you're not a fan of Captain Midnight's content at this point.
No, like
No.
this. Here's the thing. I'm not insulting him. I'm just describing him. This is purely just being just an honest observation. You have to be stupid if you think this. After watching all of this information, after being presented all of these things, and then making this video, and that is your opinion, you have to be stupid. This is Occam's razor. That has to be the explanation. You're just an idiot.
He does long form content, and by long form, I mean long form. They are almost always longer than the media itself. His most recent reviews on Doctor Strange 2 and Ant-Man 3 both almost hit the 6-hour mark. The EFAP streams cover a similar model. These streams can be extremely long and frequently vastly diverge off topics they are on for an extended period. According to the EFAP website, they have just over 300 episodes, and the total running time of these episodes is over 100 days. For those wanting to do the math, that is an average episode length of 7.3 hours. EFAP doesn't limit itself to just talk about movies and video games. On this show, they frequently talk about other YouTubers and debunk them. And by debunking, they mock and belittle, and in doing so encourage their fans to bombard that person's channel with hate. The way they take a video apart is actually rather baffling. They never allow any video they cover to actually make a point. They simply let a word or two play and then pause and go on a possibly related and possibly not related discussion that makes the original video incomprehensible. As an example, here's an unedited clip of Pillar of Garbage's video, The Critical Drinker Lied to You About Glass Onion.
There are a lot of lies in the Critical Drinker's latest video. A lot of smaller ones, straddling the lines between deception and willful misinterpretation, a few bigger ones, and one particularly shameless, bald-faced fib. As a matter of principle, I try my best to avoid watching this guy's videos, but someone sent me this latest one, and it kind of blew my mind, to the point that I feel a moral obligation to use my comparatively modest platform to push back against this slurry of boneheaded, brazen nonsense. Because it really does just lower this whole format of online media criticism.
And now, Here's a clip of that same segment being covered by EFAP.
There are a lot of lies in the Critical Drinker's latest video. A lot of smaller
straight
ones
off the gate.
straddling the lines between deception and willful misinterpretation, a few bigger ones, and
Man,
now
it's
that
such a
the
strong
truth is
claim
right away,
immediately. Yeah.
Yeah, like straight away, wouldn't the more likely cause for your disagreements be that he just like got something wrong?
Yeah, it's like he made a mistake because
mistake?
he's mortal and
No,
everything. you
we're
know?
not entertaining that. No.
Oh,
No,
what do you
okay.
mean?
Willful
Madness.
misinterpretation.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. A little harsh already. It's like you're not even gonna leave room for him just being human and getting something wrong.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, he just knows now. Dang, what a claim. Let's find out.
The mind reader.
Oh yeah. Which is useful.
the lines between deception and willful misinterpretation, a few bigger ones, and one particularly shameless, bald-faced fib. As a matter of principle, I try my best to avoid watching this guy's videos.
It's not bold-faced.
But someone
it's
sent me-
bald-faced.
Bald-faced. That's
They
true.
keep doing
That's
it.
true,
They keep
ER.
doing it. Bothers
People
the
say
hell out of me every
bald-faced.
time.
Can't
You're
get
right.
getting away with it.
It is bald-faced lie. That's right. It's,
How can
it's
you have
like
a
how
face
people
with no
say,
hair?
well,
Is it like one of those mix-up where they think like, oh, I could care less, but it's like they
I
keep
hate that
fucking
one
it
so
up.
much.
yeah, that's the one that
I don't
The
know.
other
It
one
seems
that
pretty
people
cut
mix
and
up?
dry to me.
What was that sound?
Somebody just died.
sounds like a,
sounded like a
it's-
chair
what is that,
moving.
a
So
gay
I
fart.
have,
What is
I have
that?
I have a little flute here. Usually Discord doesn't pick it up. So usually I just kind of mess around and no one people are none the wiser, but apparently that one went through.
Yeah.
Oh, you know,
Speaking of people getting idioms wrong, or words wrong, it is not haphazardly. It is haphazardly.
Haphazardly.
I've never
Well,
known it to be
just say
haphazardly. Yeah, I've
Some
never
people
heard
say
anyone
half-
get
That one wrong.
Some people say haphazardly.
Well, the glass, as they say, is half full.
I'm a half full kind of guy.
The one I'm aware of, or one of the ones I'm aware of, is it's espresso, not espresso.
Yes,
Yeah.
we say
Yeah.
espresso all the time.
Yeah.
Ugh,
I've made
that's a
that
bad one.
mistake before. I thought it was espresso.
All these grammar
Because
Nazis.
people say it so wrong, so you think that's what it is.
And then
Yeah,
rags,
I
and then they
don't
say it
know.
enough that the dictionary goes, yeah, all right, fine.
You know what? Maybe it is. You know,
I
what?
hate
Maybe
that.
literally does mean actually figuratively. And I'm like, no, it never. Hold the
Fine.
line.
Maybe it is
Hold the
nuclear now.
Nuclear. I was
Nuclear.
watching an old movie the other night, and they say it was one of those old shitty 1950s movies with like monsters and stuff. So it's like
Hey.
80% World War II B-roll, 10%
Yeah.
guys in suits in a room, and then 10% bullshit, right? And they say atomic bomb.
Oh no.
Atomic.
Atomic. That's
Atomic.
fresh.
Well,
Wow.
no, it's not. It's old. It's like 70 years old. But I was wondering, like, oh yeah, like we say atom, but we say atomic. But
I guess
he
someone
was
wouldn't know
pronouncing
that.
it in this old movie, atom and atomic.
Well,
Hmm.
see, when they announce the pronunciation of a word when it gets made, some other people are like, no, I don't like that. I'm going to push a different one, but then they get phased out eventually. They can't keep it up.
Because I'm
yeah.
fine with atomic. Atomic sounds fine. But I guess for
Sounds
whatever
wrong-
reason we
wrong
swapped
to me,
to
but it
atomic.
probably
It
is.
doesn't sound quite
like-
right.
Well, yeah, that's
Atomic
because
sounds
we
so
all
much
say
cooler.
atomic.
I don't know. I wonder if I heard them
Instead of like
both
of the atom.
with no context, which one I would actually want to opt for. Atomic sounds, I don't know, stronger to me than
It
atomic.
sounds strong and
Yeah.
normal, but we're so used to it. But like
Yeah.
atom and atomic.
Atomic sounds like a health concern.
It is a health concern.
Well, I mean,
I'd say it's a
you
health
wanna
concern.
go down that road.
That's true.
Anyway, where are we? Sorry, what's happening? Let's roll him back a bit.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
willful
Place
misinterpretation,
Onion.
a few bigger ones, and one particularly shameless, bald-faced fib. As a matter of principle, I try my best to avoid watching this guy's videos, but someone sent me this latest
As a matter
one,
of
and it kind
principle, you don't watch his videos out
Because
of
Critical Drink is
principle.
a bad man.
Oh, is he not
bad boy.
far left?
That
It's
and
because
this
he's not
one
like
just
far
couldn't
left,
stop
isn't it?
himself.
That's why.
Well, to be fair, it's because he doesn't like stuff like Willow, which is a genius
What?
show. The Witcher Blood Origin, another genius show.
Do you know if this guy likes those shows?
I don't know anymore.
I hope not. If you,
Well,
if you think Willow's good, you need to just stop. Stop.
You need to read the dictionary.
Willow is a joke show. All right. It's like a tax fraud.
I think that's a good starter one for like, come on, no one likes this. Everyone can rip on this. Come on.
If
like
you think
these-
that Willow is good, you failed the test. You can't do this job.
I like that he's torn between Drinker should be called out for his lies, and also I try not to watch his video, so he just tried to do both.
Well, yeah, his argument here is that someone sent him the video, and so this is just the result now. It almost seems like you try to have those two worlds at the same time, and like, I would never go anywhere near this disgusting thing, but I did. Like, all right then.
Someone put it right in front of me, and I just couldn't stop.
I couldn't press pause. No.
That pile of Pringles just fell in my mouth. I just couldn't help it. Just fell in right in there.
I try my best to avoid watching this guy's videos, but someone sent me this latest one, and it kind of blew my mind, to the point that I feel...
Because it's yeah, we probably set a little bit of stage here, because we did it in the previous podcast, but unfortunately, Knives Out 1 and Glass Onion, they're both movies where everyone can't resist talking about your intelligence, no matter where you stand on this film.
Yeah.
Just can't.
These are the films where if you like it and you get it, you're a smart person who understands art. And if you don't like it and you talk about things like logic and plot, then you're just an idiot and you don't understand art at all.
Or a liar.
You're a liar.
Or you're a liar. You're just lying about it. It's willful deception.
You shit on it because you know it's good.
Yeah, and you don't want Ryan to have a good movie because you hate The Last Jedi and you won't let it go.
Yeah, and I'm going to say it now just so you guys know. You could have told this anyway, but we were there when Drinker watched it. He was complaining throughout a lot of it about the things that didn't make sense, and he thought it was bad at the end. This was a genuine thing that he felt. I can reassure you of that. Don't you worry.
Yeah.
He didn't he does not secretly love this film, and he's just trying to
we're all like,
or whatever.
We're all talking about it. That he goes, guys, I think it was really good, but of course I won't say that publicly. Jeez.
Listen, the only thing he forgot is that I watched it with him. That's the only thing he forgot.
Oh yeah, that was quite funny. Yeah. There was a German guy there. You're like, yeah, man. He's really there.
He's been
but
here
I didn't
the whole
hear any
time.
German in the call. What was happening?
He's upset at the lack of German representation in the movie.
Yeah.
True.
A moral...
It would have been a villain, though.
Moral obligation to use my comparatively
Though there was a
modest
massive gap. Well, never mind.
Wait,
push
hold on.
back
Can we
against
push
this
that? Yeah, dial it back a little bit. We will dial it back all day
I'd
long.
love to dial things back.
principle. I try my best to avoid watching this guy's videos, but someone sent me this latest one, and it kind of blew my mind, to the point that I feel a moral obligation to use my comparatively modest platform to push back against this slurry
Moral
of boneheaded brazen
Okay,
nonsense.
Superman, calm
Because
down.
He's like,
moral obligation.
Garbage is
Yeah,
a
okay.
crusader.
well, yeah, you could translate what he just said into, I may be an underdog. I may be David, but Goliath, you're going down, buddy.
It's such a meme. Like,
well, you know, it's going to be funny, especially when we see what kind of arguments we're getting from this. And I would just go as far as saying, I don't even know the Drink is aware this exists. So it's just kind of funny, like, because he's already, like, a couple of questions are coming on, like, open bar, where it's just like, you know, do you know people who've shit on your take on Glass Onion? He was like, yeah, of course, everyone shits on everything I ever have. I don't care. It's just like, get over it, sort of thing. And I was like, don't you worry, we'll check it out on all EFAP. I'm curious what they have to say.
That's our job.
I'm always invested in knowing, like, when we come across a movie like Glass Onion that is so impressively terrible, that it's like, oh, you got like a whole video not only defending the film and explaining like why it's really strong storytelling wise, but in direct like response to someone who we have quite a few agreements with in terms of the flaws. It's like, this is kind of perfect. I'm going to be able to finally understand what's so good about it. That's not what happens, but
what?
like, it's overestimating. But hey, it's all right.
Spoilers, jeez.
I'm so sorry. But yeah, you can tell already from this intro that he considers like Drinker's whole approach to be bad, and he's a bad person, and he lies and stuff. It's like we really don't like Drinker in this video.
You better have some strong things to say.
You better, yeah.
Modest platform to push back against this slurry of boneheaded brazen nonsense, because it really does just lower this whole format of online media criticism.
It's impossible for the viewer of EFAP to come away with an honest view of the media that EFAP covers, and they usually just wind up repeating whatever the EFAP hosts say. Why this happens will become more clear later. Now, a question you might have as I've gone over this is, what is the possible point of making a review that's longer than the actual original media? After all, why watch that when you could just watch the movie and form your own opinions and still have extra time? I did movie reviews for a newspaper for 2 years. Those reviews were limited to 500 words, and you can find many of them in video format on this channel.
There's really one key question you have to ask yourself when remaking a classic. How are you making this different than before? How are you contributing to the mythos of this story? At best, it's unwise to create a remake without an original vision. It will surely suffer when compared to the original. Remember Gus Van Sant's misguided shot-for-shot remake of Psycho? 2017's Beauty and the Beast isn't nearly as ill-advised, but it's in the same vein. Disney has been remaking their animated classics into live-action films over the past few years, primarily due to the success of 2010's Alice in Wonderland. However, with the exception of Jon Favreau's spectacular The Jungle Book, the whole endeavor has been grossly underwhelming. Sadly, Beauty and the Beast is not an exception. That's not to say the movie is bad per se. It's well made with some incredibly talented actors in the mix. Kevin Kline, Ewan McGregor, Stanley Tucci, Emma Thompson, and Ian McKellen all in supporting roles, solidly mixing drama with gentle goofiness. The animation on the Beast is iffy, but in general the computer effects are well done. The movie is overlong, but the pacing balances out this issue for the most part. Honestly, in a vacuum, this would be a very good movie. However, this movie doesn't exist in a vacuum. The 1991 animated classic is essentially the same movie. Sure, this version includes some more backstory for the supporting cast, but it's nothing that's necessary. Some of the changes are good and some are bad. In the end, the changes are a wash to the movie's overall quality. As for the stuff they didn't change, it's near identical to the original. It's to the point where they almost certainly just cut and pasted pages of 1991 script into this movie. As an example of the changes, there's a key point in this movie where things play out just like they did in 1991. However, some of the details were altered so that the end product here doesn't make sense. All the classic songs make a return in decent covers by the new cast. However, they also add new songs. If you've just emerged from a cave after 30 years, there's an easy way to tell which are the classic songs and which are the new ones. The classic songs are the good ones. Fact is, while this is a solid movie on its own, it's impossible to recommend when, in essence, this movie already exists. If you're a huge Beauty and the Beast fan and await with bated breath any incarnation of this story, then wait no more. You'll probably have fun with this. The rest of us should save our money and rent the 1991 movie.
And many of them still posted on the newspaper's website. They are roughly 2 minutes long, and the goal is to give you my thoughts on the movie, what I think it does right, what it does wrong, and give you enough information to decide whether or not you might enjoy it. It's all subjective because as human beings, that's how we interact with art. It's always subjective. That is the nature of the beast. And because of this simple fact, it makes what Mauler does quite a bit more insidious. But before we get to the true nature of this stuff, we should probably point out how these videos get to be so long. It's because he, and on EFAP, he and his co-host, will literally just tear apart every aspect of the media they cover, no matter how pedantic.
And the First Order rose from nothing, as far as we can tell. On top of that, there is a resistance force, but we have no idea what they're even resisting. Who joins a guerrilla team fighting against nothing in peace times? Why does this force even exist? And if it is supported by the Republic, then why is it so limited?
So Metamorpho says he can't make a sun, but he can make something kind of like a sun, and so he starts to create a fucking sun.
It's so funny. I can't make a sun, proceeds to make a sun.
Yeah.
Well, it's like a
mini sun.
It's like a mini sun. He starts saying all the. He's like, oh, I need hydrogen and this, and like he says all the things, and he makes a big Kamehameha star, and then
he makes
bright.
one that works.
Yep.
So he can. He can just make a sun. And of course, the whole time that this is happening, you're like, wait, but there's the guard over, like, who can see you, who's just going to kill your son.
Well, from the moment
That's what
he withdraws the kryptonite, that guy should be like, I'm killing your son in 5, 4, 3, and then he goes, okay.
But then they add to it that other prisoners around start calling out to the guard, but he doesn't notice. And they're calling out for like a while, for like a good 10 seconds.
Yeah, the prisoners are cucked.
They're calling out, and nothing's happening. And Metamorpho creates a mini sun. Superman gets powered up, punches the way out of the cell.
So he makes a second mini sun.
Flies over to flies over and then saves the sun. And all of the time, it's like, but there was a guy. The whole point was that there was a guard there.
Yep.
That was going to kill him if you did anything.
Yep.
You did lots of things for like a good minute.
Yep.
Like, why didn't he do anything?
Yeah.
It's like, why didn't he do anything? Why is the baby son even in the prison? Why not have it like somewhere completely off-site? And so the promise is, if you do anything illegal, I say illegal. If you do anything we don't like, we will kill your son. You don't need to see him. He doesn't need to actually be accessible, because like this guy can turn into any element at all, ever. He can fly, he can shoot shit. He could theoretically have contrived a way to get himself out of that place, even if Superman hadn't turned up. It's just objectively riskier having the baby actually still on the site with you. And Lex knows all of this as well, because he's the one who exposits for us that this is what the power set is. And yet
he's very angry
Superman...
Well, I think that. Well, yeah, and I think the reason it works is because they didn't expect him to turn into the element of surprise.
Nice.
This is stupid.
It is very stupid.
No, I've heard many explanations for each of the, not only the things we brought up, but things that are to be brought up.
Really?
All right.
Lex is very angry and petty, and it explains all of his stupid decisions.
How does that actually have a? I don't actually see how that's a counter to this, though.
Now I have a serious question, especially for fans of Mauler and EFAP. What about anything said there strikes you as objective? Please post in the comments which of these was objective and explain how it could possibly be perceived as objective. And that is the thing. Mauler's idea of being able to remove all human emotion and bias from his critique and look at the art as objective is nothing more than a lie.
Firstly, I want to create a video that critiques and discusses the writing in Star Wars The Last Jedi, in full, chronologically. But unlike my previous video, this will be without the anger or language that prevents children from viewing it, as many have shared that they want a safe version of my video for their children to understand and learn from, which I am more than happy to provide in this instance. Oh, and for those of you who left comments saying I wasn't standing up for my opinion by putting the disclaimer at the end of my previous video, that was because I actually did get a few things wrong here and there, and it was badly written. It was rushed. But you won't see that disclaimer in this series, nor any of my other videos at this time.
First of all, we are human beings. We are emotional beings. Emotions are not flaws that cloud our judgment. They are actually what makes us special. It's not to say we should be slaves to our emotions, but rather that we should learn to be at one with them. But also, art is meant to affect us at an emotional level. If it doesn't do that, then why have it? Just read school books and study raw facts. That is what makes art special as well. That something that can have no impact on someone can have a profound impact on someone else. Art is meant to be viewed at an emotional level. The emotions invoked by art are very personal to the audience. The point of the art reviewer isn't to ignore the emotions or biases, but rather to be able to put them into words, how these ideas impact them, and relay that to their audience in a way that will tell them whether or not they might like it. But according to Mauler and EFAP, this is a flawed way of looking at it, an inferior way. After all, they have the objective viewpoint, and therefore, from their perspective, the superior viewpoint. That is what they preach, and this is what they teach their audience. This is why in many conversations with a Mauler or EFAP fan, you'll frequently discover they never even bothered to watch the original media that was reportedly destroyed by them. Why should they? After all, they just watched an 8-hour piece on the topic that told them all the opinions they need to know. When 2 of the 3 movies the MCU has released this year star white men, how is the MCU even relevant?
Dude, for fuck's sake, I said, for fuck's sake, you weren't listening to me. I've said multiple times, It's trying to call Disney out for like just trying to pander to a select demographic of people.
Well, no, they're expanding their fan
That's what
base.
I'm saying.
Women are getting more interested in the comic books, so they're trying to expand their fan base. That's what you do in business.
They already have a large enough fan base.
Oh, so they shouldn't make any more content for women then?
That's not what I'm... Dude, like, stop trying to paint the narrative that way.
Well, then why is the argument, oh, they already have a large enough fan base?
Look, I'm just... Like, Endgame was a satisfying enough conclusion for the MCU.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Like, we don't need any more of this woke crap.
I still haven't seen... How do they destroy beloved characters?
How did they ruin characters? Let's see. They made Thor a joke.
Thor Love and Thunder has its issues. Part of the issue is there's too many jokes in the beginning. I think it kind of worked out towards the end.
Like
but
they
the
made Thor,
beginning
they
is
made
joke
Thor
heavy.
incompetent and like goofy.
Oh, he's not incompetent in that movie. He's goofy, for sure. He's not incompetent. He might be a goofball in the beginning of that movie, but he kicks a lot of ass in the beginning of that movie, too. Did you watch it?
I'm not going to.
Why waste more time watching it for yourself and forming your own opinions? Now, I want to stress, doing a very, very long-form movie essay in this format is not inherently wrong or bad. If that is something you really enjoy doing, have at it. That type of content isn't for me. But if people enjoy seeing some movie be bashed on for hours on end, have fun. Enjoy. My issue with this type of thing comes from Mauler's claims about these videos. Most specifically, the fact that these reviews are somehow objective. He states that there are subjective and objective elements to critique media on, and uses themes as an example of a subjective element, and bad writing as an example of an objective element.
But themes are so subjective that when you try to pry into them, people will get defensive, claiming that you cannot say what you've just said. You can't say that the themes don't exist, but these themes place the content on a shelf that cannot be considered bad. It is the way that they circumvent the entire criticism of the film. The movie is now immune to being the title of bad content. Well, I hate to break this to you, my precious audience, but if you watch my other work, I am one of the people on the internet who will tell you and simultaneously argue to the death that there is such a thing as objective value to content. It sits comfortably alongside subjective value. These are two very different things. You love the themes? That's nice, but the film is still horribly written, meaning that the value you have defined from the project itself is simply for you.
Most of you are likely already confused, as while an argument that objective elements exist in movies is very true, our interaction with the movie, or honestly any form of art, is very subjective. How we feel about a theme in a movie is a subjective element. However, a theme simply existing in a piece of art, that can be argued to be objective. The example I will use is the same example Mauler uses, The Last Jedi. In that movie, not only is the theme of failure stated by Yoda in dialogue,
pass on what you have learned. Strength, mastery, but weakness, folly, failure also. Yes, failure most of all. The greatest teacher, failure is.
But also explored through the character's actions. Rey fails to redeem Kylo.
It's time to let old things die. Snoke, Skywalker, the Sith, the Jedi, the rebels, let it all die. Rey, I want you to join me. We can rule together and bring a new order to the galaxy.
Don't do this, Ben. Please don't go this way.
No, you're still holding on!
Luke fails everyone by isolating himself on an island.
We need Luke Skywalker.
You don't need Luke Skywalker.
Did you hear a word I just said?
You think what? I'm gonna walk out with a laser sword and face down the whole First Order?
Finn and Rose fail to find their contact.
Red Claw Bloom.
The Master Codebreaker.
Those are the shuttle parkers.
All right, you two are under arrest for parking violation 27B, stroke 6.
What was that?
Not now, lovey. On the road.
Kylo fails to bring Rey to the dark side.
Join me.
Poe fails to follow orders.
You're demoted.
Well, wait, we took down a dreadnought.
At what cost?
You start an attack, you follow it through.
Poe, get your head out of your cockpit. There are things that you cannot solve by jumping in an X-Wing and blowing something up.
Holdo fails to trust the people she should, even if she has a good reason.
Plan, Captain? Not Commander, right? Wasn't it Leia's last official act to demote you for your dreadnought plan? Where we lost our entire bombing fleet?
Captain, Commander, you can call me whatever you like. I just want to know what's going on.
Of course you do. I understand. I've dealt with plenty of trigger-happy flyboys like you. You're impulsive, dangerous, and the last thing we need right now. So stick to your post and follow my orders.
Throughout the movie, we see the characters constantly failing and learning to do better. Luke returns to Resistance and gives his life to save them.
The Resistance is dead. The war is over. And when I kill you, I will have killed the last Jedi.
Amazing. Every word of what you just said was wrong.
Rey gets the remainder of the Resistance to safety as Luke distracts them.
The rebellion is reborn today. The war is just beginning. And I will not be the last Jedi.
Finn learns the value of fighting for something bigger than himself.
Why would you stop me?
I saved you. Tell me. That's how we're gonna win. Not fighting what we hate. Saving what we love.
Poe learns that sometimes to be a good leader, you can't be the cocky pilot.
He's doing this for a reason. He's stalling so we can escape.
Escape? He's one man against an army. We have to help him. We have to fight.
No. We are the spark that'll light the fire that'll burn the First Order down. Skywalker's doing this so we can survive.
The only character that doesn't learn this is Kylo Ren.
Did you come back to say you forgive me? To save my soul?
No.
And the reason for this is obvious. He is the villain. What makes him the villain is that he fails to learn the lessons that the heroes do. There are more themes to The Last Jedi, but that's the most obvious and talked about one. But Mauler decides to make this argument.
The people who love the movie will latch onto every new theme that they can find with this perspective. It allows them to ignore criticism because a theme is above that. You can't kill an idea, right? From there, the themes of greed, morality, and development are all as ham-fisted as the rest. You can take a character, take their plot for the movie, and warp it around your idea. For example, you guys don't have to believe me, but I shot at a random idea in my head, a random word. I decided on resurrection. So I declare that there is a theme of resurrection in Star Wars The Last Jedi. Jedi. Literally just thrown a dart on a board of words and we have resurrection. Let's go.
Do it.
Kylo allows the dark side in him to falter and resurrect part of the light. Poe resurrects the part of him that wants to maintain the cause rather than trying to be a hero. Leia is resurrected by the Force. Finn resurrects his interest in causes as he lost that when the First Order revealed their true nature. Yoda is resurrected through the Force as a teacher for Luke. Luke resurrects his faith in the Jedi and in the people who perform good for the galaxy, giving the Resistance a spark of hope. Rey resurrects her own sense of self-worth instead of waiting on her parents to do it for her. Snoke and Hux have successfully resurrected the Empire at the beginning of the film. Is this ham-fisted? Absolutely. Is there somebody on the planet who thinks that this theme of resurrection is actually present in this film? Almost certainly. But this is what people are resorting to in order to define this movie as well written. It's frustrating to have to deconstruct.
This rant isn't him actually talking about resurrection, though. It's about character arcs, which, in general, is considered an element of good writing. But good writing is a subjective statement. And so is saying bad writing. It is actually rather stunning how Mauler seems to confuse these two statements. He literally calls the existence of a movie theme subjective, which can be objective, and bad writing objective, which is very subjective. But the definition of subjective and objective aren't the only thing he gets wrong in this review. He also seems to think that a theme is just a word you can shove into certain actions in the movie, whether they're applicable or not, which is false. Something that I find quite funny is that Mauler has stated that he does essays like this to be taught.
But unlike my previous video, this will be without the anger or language that prevents children from viewing it, as many have shared that they want a safe version of my video for their children to understand and learn from, which I am more than happy to provide in this instance.
Problem is, I doubt Mauler has taken a writing class at all, which is something I have done. So let me explain how to identify a theme in a piece of art. A theme is something that has to be stated in the text of the art, but also has to be seen in multiple examples of the art. Now keep in mind, when I say it has to be stated in the text of the art, dialogue is the most obvious way to do that, but it doesn't have to be dialogue. The text is pretty much just something at script level.
No fate but what we make. My father told her this. I mean, I made him memorize it up in the future as a message to her. Never mind. Now, okay. The whole thing goes. The future's not set. There's no fate but what we make for ourselves.
Thanos threatens half the universe. One life cannot stand in the way of defeating him.
But it should. We don't trade lives, Vision.
Peter, these are the years when a man changes into the man he's going to become the rest of his life. Just be careful who you change into.
Now, a theme does not have to be intended by the artist, but you can't just force something in like Mauler attempts to do with the word resurrection in his example. Resurrection is a major point in The Last Jedi, and what Mauler presents as examples of resurrection are actually just character arcs. So let's take a look over what I have just discussed in this video. In Mauler, we have a media critic who thinks his takes are objective takes, that his reviews should be taught in school, apparently even at a level where harsh language would be unacceptable. So, elementary level. So in theory, he would be presenting these objective reviews to children and argues that if you disagree, then you're objectively wrong. So while Mauler isn't taught in school, at least I sincerely hope he isn't, he does treat his videos as if they should be used as a form of education, to teach people how to interact with media. And judging from the behavior of his audience, they're good little students, simply listening and repeating every talking point of Mauler and EFAP, and repeating it as if it is absolute and inarguable fact.
In one of your in the second response video to Rags, you say that Obi-Wan does not want Luke to kill Vader. That Obi-Wan's motivation is not to kill Vader. Can you tell me why you believe that?
Rags' whole argument is that in A New Hope, Obi-Wan Kenobi sacrificed himself to encourage Luke to kill Vader.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
What evidence in the movie do we have of that?
Okay, then can you... Because Obi-Wan turns back to Vader after seeing Luke, and he gives that smirk. Is there another interpretation that you can give for that to explain, like, the slight smile that he gives?
Yes.
Besides, like,
Yes,
I will
because
become more powerful.
Luke will survive, and the Jedi will live on.
But Luke isn't... Well, a little bit of training.
Well, that's the thing about interpretations. Both are just as valid.
Yeah.
And I would say that in isolation, they are both just as valid. But out of isolation with the rest of the movies, I would say that there's more credence to it. Obi-Wan intentionally letting himself get killed so that it would encourage Luke.
Then what about this?
Where in A New Hope do you get that impression that Obi-Wan wants Luke to kill Vader?
I wouldn't say it's, like I said, in A New Hope, it's in isolation, so it could be either one. But with the knowledge in the future where Obi-Wan says to Luke, you have to kill your father, and he says, I can't kill my own father, and he says, and the Emperor has always won, then that colors that previous time.
Okay, but where does he say, I let myself die so that you could kill your father?
Where does he not? It's an interpretation.
It doesn't have to have. It doesn't have to have proof.
Well, yes, you do. When you're analyzing a piece of media, you have to draw evidence from that piece of media.
I understand in the meta, like plot, whatever, the second movie in a trilogy, Rey's not dying right then. I understand that. It's just when we talk about the metric of do things make sense, a disappearing knife doesn't make sense, and it's important that it disappears because it would have affected the plot in a meaningful way. That's not something like, it's not really to do with plot so much as like what we're actually seeing. Like it's not about the meta of, oh yeah, Rey's the main character, she can survive anything. It's more about like, what would have happened.
All right. I mean, that's an interesting what if to explore, but
yeah.
And I would also say, let's say you're watching Last Jedi and that knife disappearing, you saw it and it pissed you off and you couldn't get over it, and you just hate the movie because of that big air. That is a valid opinion to have.
Yep.
That is absolutely fine, but also understand that is again subjective.
Yeah, no, so again, I would agree that's subjective. It's not about hatred or validity or ruining the movie. It's just about, it's an issue that exists and it is actually a proper problem that exists.
I mean, I would argue, sure, it's a technical mistake. Absolutely. Technical mistakes happen. I would not argue it ruins the movie.
I don't believe in ruining movies. A movie cannot be ruined. It just is a movie. Ruining is in the eye of the beholder.
Absolutely true.
So what I would I understand we're very close to agreeing now. When you say technical mistake, it just sounds like you're trivializing what is a pretty important thing, right? Like it's,
I mean, at the grand scale of things, no, because we're dealing with continuity error.
Right. So if Rey had died, the movie would have been different.
But Rey was never in risk of dying. They just forgot the knife for one shot.
She was in that moment. Well, so, and again, not to restate myself fucking again, I understand how plotting works. I know Rey wasn't going to die in that scene. I'm not, I have no illusion that Rey was actually going to get like stabbed and killed. I'm just saying like the error is an error for this reason. And I have to justify, it's just generally what you'll see with objective errors is that you have to sort of justify, why is this not a nitpick? It's not a nitpick because it would have actually significantly affected the story.
Well, again, it's a continuity error. If they had remembered the knife for that shot, they would have just dealt with it differently.
You don't have to say, mate. You don't have to say.
Well,
that
I mean,
again.
I
understand.
Sometimes feel like important. I do because I feel like you're just circling back to how it would have killed her, and no, it wouldn't. That knife was never going to kill Rey.
All right. Sorry, I know the knife. Okay. it's not about the meta of like plotting. It's about just the scene by scene. Once again, do things make sense? No, a disappearing knife doesn't make sense. And why is it not a nitpick? Can you say it with me? Why is it not a nitpick? Because it would have killed her. Not because it was going to kill her.
Dude,
Obviously, it didn't kill her. It was never going to kill her.
That was
but it would have
literally my
killed her.
last point. That knife was never in danger of killing her.
I know, from a meta perspective, but not from from a things making sense perspective, not from an actual story perspective.
From
a meta perspective, absolutely.
It is literally a
But
continuity error. If they'd remembered it for that shot, they
Okay.
would have dealt with it differently.
Yeah. Please don't say that again.
Well, I mean, that's
you've
literally
said
what
that a lot
happened.
of
That's
times
part
now,
of
and it's-
filmmaking. Now think about this. Truly think about this, because it is insane. And the conclusion this takes you to is simply completely batshit. So if you can analyze art at an objective level, that means any art you deem as objectively bad can be viewed as inferior art or even deviant art. And if that art is viewed as deviant or harmful to society, then you've made a case to destroy that art. After all, what is the point or value of it if we've already concluded it's objectively bad? Why not ban books and burn them if we know these pieces of art are objectively bad? Surely their existence holds no benefit to society, right? And that line of thought should terrify you, because it scares the crap out of me. Some nebulous art reviewer can just decide that a piece of art is inferior and do away with it? But there's more to dive into. Mauler also objects to left-leaning ideas presented in The Last Jedi, and says they are distracting for Star Wars fans who aren't left-leaning, which is very confusing.
So the social aspects to it genuinely seem forced, and they also pander to a more left-leaning audience. I am sure that people on the left would agree with this even if they consider the message correct, which is not actually something I am discussing here. I am simply pointing out that the film is clearly left-leaning, which is frustrating for everybody who enjoys Star Wars and does not lean left.
Which is very confusing, since Star Wars has always been a critique on fascism, which is an extreme right-wing ideology. The parallels of the Empire and Nazis are undeniable in the original movie. Their foot soldiers are called stormtroopers, which is a term most famously used to describe a special unit of German soldiers, so much so that the American pro-Nazi magazine published in the 60s was called the Stormtrooper magazine. There's this famous clip of George Lucas and James Cameron talking about the politics of the original Star Wars.
Science fiction, you got two branches. One is science, and the other is social.
Right.
I'm much more of the 1984 kind of guy.
Sure.
than I am
THX
be
1138.
very honest with the spaceship guy.
Yeah.
The spaceship. I got into spaceships out of cars.
Yeah.
I love cars. I love going fast.
Going fast.
So, I like spaceships.
Yeah.
But it isn't the science, aliens, and all that kind of stuff that I get focused on. It's the how do the people react to all those things, and how do they accommodate them.
Yeah.
So that's the part that really fascinates me and I'm interested in.
You did something very interesting with Star Wars, if you think about it. The good guys are the rebels. They're using asymmetric warfare against a highly organized empire. I think we call those guys terrorists today. We call them Mujahideen, we call them Al-Qaeda.
When I did it, they were Viet Cong.
Exactly. So were you thinking of that at the time?
Yes.
So it was a very anti-authoritarian, very kind of 60s against the man kind of thing, nested deep inside of a fantasy.
Or a colonial, we're fighting the largest empire in the world.
Right.
And we're just a bunch of hayseeds in coonskin hats that don't know nothing.
That's right.
And it was the same thing with the Vietnamese.
Yep.
The irony of that one is in both of those, the little guys won.
Right.
And the big, highly technical empire,
the English Empire, right?
the English
British
Empire, the American Empire, lost.
Yeah.
And here's George Lucas discussing his politics during a morning talk show.
There's also the side of you that's a political animal. I mean, you are, among people who know you, a billionaire who's not that crazy about capitalism.
That's true.
Tell me what.
Well, I grew up in the 60s. I grew up in San Francisco. So I've been formed in a certain kind of way about believing in democracy and believing in America, and I'm a very ardent patriot, but I'm also a very ardent believer in democracy, not capitalist democracy. And I do not believe that the rich should be able to buy the government. And that's just the way I feel.
Is that the America you see, where the rich have bought the government?
Well, come on. It's been that way for a long time. And it's just, it's not right. And it's not going to work. And
will it change?
Well, I hope it changes. I mean, it's hard because you got human nature. You got people, basically we got a country based on greed. And as long as you got that, then it's corrupt. And as long as it's corrupt, you're never going to get a real meeting of the minds on what is best.
So why don't you make a film about the America that you are articulating? I mean, why don't you use the power of George Lucas to tell the...
I don't think I have that much power. I mean, I learned... My first film was kind of an indictment of our...
Could I show you a list of the 100 best films and how many of them are made by George Lucas?
Yeah, but they're not made to... Yes, they have a political undertone. I mean, especially Star Wars has got a very, very elaborate social, emotional, political context that it rests in. But, of course, nobody was aware of that. Nobody says, oh, my gosh. But if you actually watch the movies, it's there, and you subliminally get the fact of what happens to you if you've got a dysfunctional government that's corrupt and doesn't work. But, most of the fault lies with the media. And I know everybody uses the media as a scapegoat. But the things the media focus on, the sensationalism, the kind of simple answers, the not really telling the truth, is what creates a society where everybody gets really polarized, where they're afraid.
The interesting thing about you, point the finger at the media. You are the media. You are a person with enormous potential to talk to the public. You don't need the media. I mean, you have...
Yeah, but my part of the media is such a small... I make a little blip, and that's it. But
George Lucas has a powerful voice, and you know that.
It's
you
sort
can
of
enter
powerful.
the public conversation.
Well, I can make something that entertains people and makes them think. All I can do is try to make them think about things and to give them the values that we supposedly stand for. The legal system, the financial system, the political system, they're all based on winner take all. But that's not a good society. That's not a good culture. That's a culture that is built out of a caveman mentality, where the guy with the biggest hammer wins. That's not a good society.
And you want to see a society that is defined how? By everybody comes out?
By compassion, to saying we care about everybody in our society. And what we want to do is what's best for everybody in this society. And we want to build the best society where everybody gets the best possible life they can possibly have.
Would you call this democracy? Would you call this socialism? Would you call this some other ism that we don't have a name for it?
Common sense.
No, neither George Lucas or Star Wars could ever be described as right-wing. So complaining about left-leaning elements in The Last Jedi is simply complaining that Rian Johnson is carrying on the politics that George Lucas had in the original trilogy. But also keep in mind, Mauler claims to be apolitical, despite complaining about left-leaning politics in a movie from a franchise that's always been at least mildly left-leaning. But it is also a bizarre claim to say that you're apolitical, when he was also a mod for another YouTuber named Sargon of Akkad, a very right-wing figure in the space, and his podcast co-host is Rags, another overtly right-wing figure who is also, quite frankly, a terrible person and spews bigotry on a regular basis. Most likely, he was chosen to be Mauler's co-host because he says the things Mauler wants to, but is too afraid to.
The top comment with 12,000 upvotes. The fact that they played Duel of the Fates, Anakin's Dark Deeds, and Battle of the Heroes is insane. Instant chills right there.
There you go.
Fuck off.
I
don't even care if you're a nice person. Jesus Christ. Jesus, Rags, can you not be a smug insult machine for 5 seconds? Contribute something of substance, please.
Wow.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. Kill yourself,
Oh,
I guess. I don't know. I don't know. I don't care. We're still talking about Nerdrotic and not me. I thought this video was about me.
Here's a recent tweet from him where he's replying to Chris Evans simply saying Sam Wilson is Captain America.
Okay.
Rags then proceeds to do what many...
Wait, what's the... Chris Evans said Sam Wilson is Captain America, which he isn't. Rogers is Captain America. Yeah, Steve Rogers is Captain America. Yeah. I think that, yeah. Sam Wilson, yeah. I do not agree with Chris Evans. Okay. Nerd Rock. You know, it doesn't even matter. You're using this as an example of him being racist, sexist, and homophobic. But where is it? What's the exact... How does this show that he's racist or sexist or homophobic? Steve Rogers is Captain America and Miles Morales is Miles Morales. Of course he is. What's the racist and sexist element of this? Black Lives Matter is... Gosh, what's the most charitable way to describe Black Lives Matter? Black Lives Matter is a bully organization of frustrated, spoiled millennials and people looking for an anger outlet. It's a borderline terrorist organization that often spews hateful rhetoric and inspires murder on police officers. I have absolutely no love for Black Lives Matter. They are an awful organization. I have no time and no patience for groups of individuals who want to blame all the problems that they think they may or may not be facing on some boogeyman called white supremacy or systematic racism, because they think it's much easier to blame something else for your problems instead of maybe the fact that, well, blacks in this country commit an insanely high amount of crime, that 73% of blacks are born out of wedlock. Blacks only graduate from high school at a rate of 69% nationwide. The fact that 93% of black homicide victims are killed by other blacks. The fact that 40% of cop killers are black, despite black males being 6.6% of the United States population. But I suppose it's much easier to blame systematic racism or the police or white supremacy or just some nebulous boogeyman out there in the distance floating around invisible yet ever present instead of addressing the problems that face your own community.
So, what can we learn from all these simple observations? Going back to the beginning, Hitler was a massive fan of movies, and art as well. He very famously hired skilled artists to make propaganda for him that he certainly viewed as art, while deviant art was thrown in fires. No, I am not saying Mauler is Hitler. All I'm saying is that it is interesting how Mauler and Hitler seem to view art in a very similar way. That needs to be very surface level and blunt, otherwise it's bad, which can be determined objectively. That they view art as either good or bad, and that their opinions on art are the correct opinions, and other opinions do not matter. Both Mauler and Hitler have their blind followers, who will simply follow whatever they say as gospel. Many fans of Mauler and EFAP don't even watch the media, and simply get all their opinions on media from their favorite critics. And that's the key to all of this. The very concept of viewing art objectively is actually a very right-wing point of view. And it seems like it's a view shared by both Mauler and Hitler. That the way Mauler analyzes art is the same way a fascist would, is something of a problem to anyone who just wants to nerd out on movies, whether they be good or bad. And whether Mauler and company understand it or not, they are harmful to film discourse with their objective reviews. They teach their fans to simply listen to their opinions on movies, and that is why they never have to think for themselves. You don't need any opinion on the latest movie or to even watch it, because Mauler and company will simply tell you the opinions you should have. And all you have to do is regurgitate their opinions, and you'll be an objective reviewer too. This is the harm they do to film discourse, because Mauler and EFAP is media critique for fascists.
Nazi. Wie bitte? Haben Sie mich gerade als Nazi beschimpft?
Na, Sie sind doch einer.
Das ist ja eine Unverschämtheit. Nur weil ich in der NSDAP und in der SS bin, bin ich noch lange kein Nazi. Wahrscheinlich bin ich auch noch rechtsextrem, oder was?
Ja, aber was sollen Sie denn sonst sein?
Ich bin vielleicht ein besorgter Bürger, der Angst vor Überfremdung hat. Aber ich bin nicht rechts. Und ich bin erst recht kein Nazi. Hey, Sie da? Sehe ich etwa wie ein Nazi aus?
Nö, würde ich jetzt nicht sagen.
Na, sehen Sie? Aber der ist wahrscheinlich für Sie auch ein Nazi, hm? Nazis, 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 lauter Nazis. Wenn einem die Argumente ausgehen, dann holt man schnell mal die gute alte Nazikeule raus.
Es hat doch nichts mit Nazikeule zu tun.
Sie machen sich das Leben sehr einfach. Nur weil jemand die Mainstream-Meinung nicht teilt, ist er gleich ein Nazi.
Aber Nazi sein ist doch längst Mainstream. Ihr Nationalsozialisten seid an der Macht.
Ach ja, ich vergaß. In Ihrer Welt sind ja alle Nazis. Der Führer ist wahrscheinlich für Sie auch ein Nazi, was?
Ja?
Jetzt reicht's aber. Führerbeleidigung. Mitkommen.
Das sind jetzt über...
Ja, ich weiß. Nazi-Methoden.
Blutrote Rose.
Books, records, films, these things matter. Call me shallow. It's the fucking truth.